It's been a hectic week. We're trying to get done on this state job, and things are just not working out for us. It is once again turned to mud. It's January, and look at the ground. It is past the point of frost. It's almost drying out again in some places, but it is absolutely muddy in places out here. There is wood all along this bottom side. If you can see down the hill there, it kind of drops off, and we'll go for a walk, but it's wet. It's wet, and there's about 4 stone walls you have to jump, which they all gather up water, and that turns into another obstacle. Fucking ponds everywhere, excuse my language. But anyways, we're doing a state job. Almost wrapped up on this side of it. We still got a long way to go. We're like 80,000 feet into a 280,000 foot job, so we're getting there, but hopefully the next piece is a little drier. Anyways, we are in here trying to cut all the ash. As you can see, there's no ash left. There's one big old nasty one right there that, thank God, they didn't mark, but the ash borer is not here yet, but it will be here. So they want to cut it while it's still worth money, and it's not, you know, the ash. Here's a perfect example over here. What happens when the ash dies. It just turns to this brittle, rotten, dangerous tree. That has no top. I mean, that hasn't even been dead that long, and the top's already broke out of it, but there's a lot of beautiful sugar maple in here, and we cut a little bit of it, but most of it they want to leave for future harvests. But there's a lot of young, healthy, really nice sugar maple. There's a barked up one. Forester will come back through and mark anything that we barked up. You know, this is our kind of logging is a little bit different than what a lot of other people see. Like, it's hard for us to even cut roads through places because we can't just go cutting, you know, the obviously ideal scenario would be just cut a straight road to the bottom and, you know, easy as that. You don't have to swing wood through any small trees, but it's kind of a pain because we can't really do that. We have to try and do the best we can to avoid barking up the nice trees. This is a young one that got pretty well mangled, but a lot of the times, I mean, this is definitely from the tire of the machine, but a lot of times you get the trees, these ash are just, they're super tall, and they're, you know, dragging a tall tree, you need a lot of room to swing it. So it's kind of a pain in that sense to do it, but we really try and do the least amount of damage possible. Like, it's in our contract. This is a crop management job. We're not, you know, barking up of trees is not tolerated. So obviously it's gonna happen no matter what you do, but like, here's one on the side of the road that we managed to avoid. But that's why that one's hit, because when you come up this trail and you try and swing to the right, your hitch is grabbing on that tree every time. But luckily it's not that big of a tree, and the one to the left is not barked up, and this one's not barked up. But this is where it starts to get muddy. Very wet. We try to corduroy it. It's kind of a pain with the grapple. It's just getting really wet, as you can see. There's a tree over there last night. I almost took my head off. Actually, let's go look at that. I caught it. I got it on video. If you want to look at any of my other videos. But I cut it, and I have this stone wall here, and it caught on that tree, that dead tree over there. And I should have walked up over this wall, but being stupid, I walked. I was between this little maple tree. There's my footprints right there. I was standing right here when this tree came all the way from over there, flipped up in the air. It was crazy. It scared the hell out of me, but end of the day, pushing it, trying to cut more than I should. Typical me. I should slow down. I was actually trying to get some good footage, and that was the last one I cut. After that, I said, okay, it's time to go home. But we have a little bit to cut on this little strip over here. It's not very much, maybe a couple loads, but a lot of this ash, unfortunately, this ash has not opened up like we were expecting it to. Hasn't really been the greatest. We didn't realize, you know, we looked at this job this summer when it was extremely dry, and we thought, okay, well, dry ground usually means nice ash. We were totally wrong. This place is pretty wet. We did not realize it. We should have seen the evidence, but that's a nasty hinge. I'm not proud of these ones, but they're junk, you know. That's just, it's almost dead, basically. It's pretty close. Even this one. I'm sure if you cut this chunk off, it'll clear up a little bit, but that one, look, it has an X. Anything with an X is pretty much guaranteed dead. I try not to even cut them, but I will if they're not too dangerous. I don't really like to wedge over dead ash because the tops fall out of them. You can see that top is probably barely hanging in there. Well, this stitch is going to be a little bit of a problem with our grapple because it does not have a winch, so it's going to be a little tricky. We'll get it. Even this one, this is marked as a log. Top looks pretty dead. I can tell you that much. Top looks pretty dead. But you never know, it's weird. I don't know. Sometimes you think that they're not going to open up that great, and they open up pretty nice. So hopefully we're going to get out of here, but next week is going to be warm and rainy for the last week of January, which is just fantastic. So we have like 6 miles of trees they marked along these roads in the state forest. So I think next week we'll probably start working on that, which is going to be a pain because they want no slash within 25 feet of the roads, which that sucks because it looks like you got to push everything in the woods and there's trees in the way. You know, it's not going to be very fun, but we got to do it. There's some nice wood marked in there. Actually, they have some pretty decent oak along the road. So hopefully that opens up a little nicer than this ash does. But want to do this YouTube channel because seeing guys like that chipper guy, like I was one of your first subscribers, man. Watch you have the time to put out videos every day. You know, it's cool to get home and go on YouTube and look and be like, wow, you know, look what they are doing today. You know, it's a totally different style than what we do. You would probably love this wood in here if you were going to chip it. There's a lot of small, dead straight ash with no branches that our pulp market up here is pretty crappy, so we just take a lot of it and put it into firewood, which the firewood market is pretty decent, so works out. But there's 500 cords of firewood on this job, which is a lot for us. That's a real lot. So a little bit about our operation. You know, everybody does it differently, and I feel like I could add something to the logging community on the internet. You know, I feel like that I'm a little bit different style how we do things. I'm young into this. I'm only been doing this for 3 years. My partner, his dad was a logger. He grew up, you know, being in the woods every day, and you know, he always wanted to do it, and he kind of got me into it when we were younger. I worked with him and his dad a little bit, and he ended up buying a cable machine when he was right out of high school, and we kind of did some jobs. I worked for him, and then we ended up buying another business together and decided, you know, why don't we give this logging thing a shot? I think we could do a decent job, and so we both got our licenses, and we've got a good amount of work. We've got like 2 years of work lined up, which is pretty good. Me and him full time up here. We got 2 other guys that help, but you know, we do it. I hand cut everything, which I know is people are like, you're crazy to be hand cutting this much wood, but unfortunately right now it's the position we're in, being young, just getting started. You know, any kind of buncher is a lot of money, and we need, personally I think, a track machine or something, because we can't process whole tree length, you know, or the whole tree, bring it to the landing and deal with it. It has to be topped in the woods. So it's kind of, you know, we could buy a wheeled feller buncher, but how are you going to top with it? Then you got to go through and hand top all the bunches and everything. It's a pain. So But I cut everything. We got one guy that skids. We just bought it, grapple skidder, dual arch. It's a 94 John Deere 648. It's pretty sweet. I like it. It's nice. It's much nicer than the cable machine. But so we got 2 skidders. We got a cable machine. It's not mine, it's my partner's. It's a Tree Farmer. It's a C6. Pretty big machine too, which is another part of our problem. We have 2 big skidders. We kind of need a smaller one for this kind of shit. But and we just bought some old log truck, which I don't know if you can kind of see. It's a long way up to the landing, but he's actually loading out a trailer right now, which is good. We kind of see maybe that log pile up there. We've finally got some trucks coming, which is good. We've been moving some wood this week. Well, we're almost done out here. I got some slashing to do, and we still have a lot of wood to clean up. Just a lot of firewood and stuff. A lot of the logs are out of here, but pretty much a cleanup game now. I like to stay, a good couple days ahead of the skidder operator, because it takes the pressure off me. And if he's on my tail, I gotta rush, I make mistakes, and it's just better, I find, to stay ahead. Like if I gotta come out here on a Sunday or whatever to stay ahead of him, I will. But it's I don't know about what exactly I want to do with this channel, but I know that I want to try and put up at least 3 videos a week, whether it's cutting. I don't know if people are really interested in cutting. It seems like there's not that much interest in it, but I like it, so I'm going to continue to make videos about it. But I'd like to do some skidding, just like what we're doing, what we're doing on every job, especially for the state. It's always something. It's usually like they're not allowed to do any kind of work unless they have a harvest, like a plan in action, a forest management plan. So we do a lot of invasive cutting. Wow, we've been doing a lot of ash in the last 2 years, and do hemlock. So that's all dying too in this area. But it's a tough business to be into. Some days I really love it, and some days I'm like, man, what did I get myself into? It's dangerous. Hand cutting, I gotta say, it's dangerous, and I hope to not have to do it for more than a couple more years. Get some kind of my ideal setup is a processor, whether on an excavator or whatever, some kind of processor head and a forwarder, just because when a day like today, when it's wet, you can still work because you're not dragging and running up the roads 100 times. It's just way more efficient. I think in our side is, I know Cotton Top, he just put up a video talking about why they don't run that kind of equipment, and this is what he's talking about. This is the kind of logging we do, where we can't run big equipment. We can't, we got to top everything in the woods, and we have to do minimal damage. I've never even worked on a clear cut other than cutting like a house lot. That's it. We're always doing selective harvest, which is good because they really cut everything hard in this part. I'm from Connecticut. We work in the northwest corner. They cut everything really hard back, in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. They cut everything got cut super hard up here, and so now the woods are finally starting to come back. So this stand of timber in 20 years is going to be worth a lot of money. There is going to be an amazing stand of sugar maple that comes back here. It's going to get all the light it needs, and it's just everywhere. That's pretty much all we're leaving is sugar maple and some cherry. We've cut some of the cherry out of here, but it's if you look around, there's actually an elm tree right there, which is pretty rare. Most of those died off, but if you look, it's pretty much all sugar maple. There's really nothing else that's coming in here. Pretty much all sugar maple. They left a few ash. The forester said he's going to come back in here maybe and actually mark some more of it, because they might as well get rid of it. It's a hazard to the public walking in here. People do hunt in here. So not only is this going to improve the stand of timber that we're leaving, is really opens it up for wildlife, which is another reason why we're not allowed to process the whole tree. We leave the tops here because it decomposes, it helps the ground, and it stabilizes the ground a little bit. You know, the water can't just wipe down through our skid roads. And the deer will be in here when we are done. I can guarantee that. They love it when you come in, and they just go around and eat all the tops off the, you know, the little buds on the trees. But the deer, they will be in here for sure. We've been seeing a lot of tracks when there was snow, but it's amazing. As soon as you cut, like, I swear they get drawn to the noise of chainsaws. But anyways, it's time to go to work, so I'll catch up with you guys later.